welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan. Today I have another meal prep video for you guys. Yay! So this meal prep is very exciting for me because I did not have to spend any money. So I did not have to go grocery shopping for this because I wanted to do a meal prep where I only use the products I already have in my kitchen. So I use the products that were already in my fridge, my freezer, my pantry, and Lord knows I have a lot of stuff in my kitchen. I'm moving this month, so I wanted to get rid of some things before I move so that I would have less to carry, you know? And I hope to inspire you today to do a similar thing where you kind of go through the stuff you have in your pantry, because I know a lot of us have a lot of things in our kitchen that maybe we haven't touched for a while and we want to get rid of it, but we don't know what to do with it. This might be your opportunity to come up with something creative to make with the products that you have in your kitchen. If you guys enjoy these meal prep videos, I do them on a regular basis. So if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe. And I do have a playlist with all my vegan meal preps, so I will leave the link down below. So before we get started on the meal prep, I want to let you guys know that this video is supported by audible.com. And if you guys don't know Audible is the best online website for audiobooks. They have tons of audiobooks available, and today you can get yourself a completely free audiobook and a 1-month trial. All you have to do is go to www.audibletrial.com/cheaplazyvegan. The link to that will be down below, and you can keep that book even if you cancel the membership. So you have nothing to lose and only an audiobook to gain. So here are some of the books that I have that I love and I recommend in my collection. So you can try some of these, or you can get whatever book of your choice. So thank you to Audible for supporting this channel. Thank you guys for supporting this channel, and let's get on with the meal prep.
The first thing I usually like to do when I meal prep is I like to soak my beans overnight. So these beans have already been soaking, and now I'm just bringing them to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, you can turn it down to like a simmer for maybe about an hour or so, or until the beans have cooked. And here are some of the things that I found in my kitchen. I've got some frozen veggies, some spinach that I've frozen and thawed. I've got some green onions, most of which has gone bad, but I was able to save some of it. And I also have some zucchini. I also have a bag of frozen corn. And I also have some leftover bulgogi sauce. This is like a Korean stir-fry / barbecue sauce. I do have a recipe for this, so you can check that out. I'll leave a link to that down below. And then of course I like to chop up some onions, some garlic, and some green onions before we get started. So let's just make some breakfast. This is super easy and super quick. I'm making some pumpkin overnight oats. So in some glass jars, we're gonna distribute some oats. So I just had some leftover like instant oats or whatever these are, rolled oats. Not gonna lie, I still don't really know the difference between the different kinds of oats, so yeah. Anyways, I'm also distributing some hemp seeds, just a tablespoon of hemp seeds into each jar. And now I am adding some coconut milk. Again, this is some leftover coconut milk that I just had to use up. And now we can add some pumpkin pie mix. So I had already opened up a can of pumpkin pie mix, and so I'm just adding like 3 tablespoons of that into each jar, and then now I'm just mixing it all together. Now the pumpkin pie mix already has a lot of spices, and also it's already sweetened, so I don't need to add any sweetener. And this actually turned out really good. It was super delicious. I'm adding a little bit of water, just a little splash, just to thin it out a bit in case it gets too thick, but that's totally optional. And then of course you can seal each jar and keep it in the fridge, and then it should look like this overnight. And it does keep in the fridge for maybe 2 or 3 days. I wouldn't make like more than 3 at a time. I don't know. That's just from my experience. But yeah, that is what it looks like. Yummy! Next, we need to use up some rice noodles. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how I accumulated so many rice noodles, but I have so many. So we're just gonna make a very simple stir fry. So first thing I'm gonna do is just soften some of these rice noodles. So I'm just taking some into a big bowl, and I just cover it with some hot boiling water. And then I'm just gonna cover the bowl with a plate so that the noodles soften, so that when you stick it into the stir fry, it cooks very, very quickly. So this kind of does like half the job for you while you prepare everything else. And then in a frying pan, I'm just adding a little bit of oil, and we're just gonna cook up some vegetables. Here I'm just adding some of the whites of the green onion that I chopped up, some regular onion, again chopped, and then I'm also adding a bit of minced garlic. And then we're just gonna cook that a little bit until the onions have softened. And now I guess I'm adding the greens of the green onions as well. And then I'm adding some frozen vegetables. And now I'm just going to add some of those softened rice noodles. As you can see here, it's a lot easier to work with. And I just add a little bit of water at a time so that the stir fry doesn't get too sticky. And now we're going to add the rest of this leftover bulgogi sauce. Again, this is a Korean marinade slash barbecue sauce, and it's super easy to make and it's very delicious, and you can pretty much add it to whatever stir fry you have. So I will leave a link to that video down below if you guys are interested in the recipe. And now I'm adding some frozen corn. You could have done this earlier when we added the frozen vegetables, but I think I just forgot to, so I'm adding it now. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. And again, I forgot to add this earlier. This definitely should have been added earlier, but I'm adding some frozen dumplings. These are some frozen vegetable dumplings. They're already pre-made, and I just had them in my freezer, so I thought I would stick that in there. And I think I just added some sriracha. Knowing me, yes, that was probably sriracha. And I guess the bulgogi sauce was not enough for this amount of rice noodle situation, so I'm just adding a few drops of coconut aminos, which is basically like a soy sauce. And once it's done, you can just distribute into your favorite meal prep containers. And on the sides, I just added some frozen Brussels sprouts and also some frozen edamame, which are soybeans, and I love edamame if you guys watch my videos. And on some of them, I added some sliced apple. So obviously the ones with the apple, you wouldn't put it into the freezer, but the other ones you can put in the freezer because, yeah, they're all frozen anyway. And for dinner, I'm making one of my all-time favorite things to make because it's super easy, very nutritious, and you can make a giant batch at one go. And yes, I am talking about chili. I love making chili. I used to make it all the time when I lived in London. So now in a big pot, I'm just adding a bit of water, and I'm just adding the chopped onions and also the minced garlic. And I'm just gonna kind of saute it for a little bit. And you can use oil at this stage if you want. I guess I just decided to use water. And I'm adding some chopped zucchini. You can obviously feel free to use whatever vegetables you want, and that's why I love chili, because you can customize it in whatever way you want to. So now I'm adding 2 big cans of chopped tomatoes. And then I'm adding a bunch of the beans that I cooked earlier. I'm not even adding all of them because otherwise it would just overflow, okay? And here I'm adding some frozen corn. And as you can see here, my pot is already pretty full, but I'm always super over enthusiastic when it comes to putting things in a pot. And now I'm adding some more stuff. I'm adding some red split lentils. This is great to kind of absorb some of the liquid. So if you want like a thicker chili and you want the chili to be less liquidy, then you can always add some red split lentils. Here I'm adding some thawed frozen spinach and also some of the fresh baby spinach that I had left over. So you can flavor it however way you want. I'm just adding some veggie broth powder. What is that even called? Veggie bouillon. We're just gonna add some of that for some flavoring. And now we're gonna add some spices. So I'm adding some garlic powder. Also adding some chili powder. A little bit of paprika. Some onion powder. And then we're gonna mix that up. I normally do also add cumin. I guess I just forgot in this case, but that's another seasoning that you could add. And then I just kind of bring it to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, I do like to, well, I guess I'm adding some green onions. Okay. As you can see, I just kind of put things into the pot. I don't really have an order for this. Who cares, right? I mean, it's all gonna taste great. And then I just like to bring the chili to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I turn it down into a low simmer, and then I like to kind of let it simmer for about an hour or so, or until it becomes like a thicker kind of chili, you know, until it looks something like this, and most of the liquid is gone. That's usually what I do. And just remember that chili will always taste better the next day. All the flavors will make love, and it will just taste even more flavorful and delicious the next day. So enjoy. Another great thing about chili is that it freezes really well, so you can always freeze some if you made too much, which I almost always do when I make chili because, like I said, I get a little over enthusiastic. Alright you guys, so that is it for my kitchen raid type of meal prep where I basically made things from what I already had in my kitchen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Let me know if you want me to do another one of these maybe before I move. Let's see. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really does help me. And if you are new here, like I mentioned, I do tons of meal prep videos and other vegan recipe videos, and they are all very easy to make and usually very, very cheap. So if you guys like that kind of thing, don't forget to subscribe. And once again, this video is supported by Audible, so if you guys want to support this channel and get yourself a free audiobook, don't forget to check out audibletrial.com/cheaplazyvegan and get yourself a completely free audiobook. And as always, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!